PAWR office. This is the PPO. It was recently established, March of this year. Been working on it for 18 months, give or take, if you will. All of the information is on the website, so I encourage you to visit the PAWR website, advancedwireless.org. All of our titles, our functions, our bios are out there, so please walk through the website in detail. It'll let you know who you're dealing with, where to direct your questions. We're all out there. We're all open to receive your questions. So we have some, our organization is flat. I'm the director. We have the organizations below us, the project director. I have the organization below us that cover our technical structure, including architectural, engineering. We have a financial director. We have an academic outreach director for the universities. We have a community director for all of the local municipal communities that want to partner up with the academic universities and provide input. We have an industry director that's working with our industry consortium. All our contributions in kind will go through that consortium, and hopefully we'll be able to grow that over the course of years to come. We have co-PIs out there as well that will allow us to get some management oversight, keep us in line, if you will, so that we know where our boundaries are as we go through the RFP and the awards. That's our organization for the most part. The PAWR approach, what we're trying to do is we're trying to consolidate the efforts of approximately 400 universities into a single research platform. So we're going to build an environment or multiple environments that allow the research to go on. And NSF and the industry are funding these environments through contributions in kind and cash. We're looking for early industry development here. We're not trying to work on technology that's currently in the mainstream or commercial markets. What we're trying to do is we're trying to look out 2 to 3 years, bring the research into these platforms, bridge the gap of research development to commercial deployment. The scope is these mid-size or at-scale environments, so that the researchers and the test engineers have something to work on that's sustainable, it's repeatable, and it's operationally sound, for lack of a better term. We want to give them the technology and the operations so that they can bring small projects or large projects, depending on what they need from these environments. Should encompass anything from the OEM devices all the way up to large big iron infrastructure. Flexibility and speed. We want to get through this quick so they can bring it in, they know what to expect. They'll be able to put their project through and within a few weeks. Our plan is to get 1 or 2 platforms out there in 2017, 2018, with 3, 4, possibly even 5 platforms as we go through 2022. We'll have a governance process that's going to make sure that we use the funds and the contributions in kind according to the guidelines that are set by the NSF and the industry consortium. So our problem that we're trying to resolve is bridge this valley of death, if you will. We have the research, we have the commercial deployment. We're trying to get through this by providing an environment where they can prove the technical value of the products that are going through the testing. What we'd like to do is give the research access to mid-scale, at-scale type environments. The industry collaborated with this group here to provide us some infrastructure, some finances, and the skill sets to help these research understand what it takes to get their developed products to a commercial market. With that, I am pretty much going to turn it over to the technical team and to Thyagarajan at the NSF to give his introduction over the program. Thank you, guys.
All right. I'm supposed to skip to the slides? The slides? I'm just using my own. Okay, thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, thank you. I'm really pleased to see this big crowd of folks, and I think this is an indication of the level of strength and depth in this wireless research community. And you guys have been the driving force behind this whole effort, even though you may not actually know it. I came to NSF about 5 years ago, and I've been talking to many folks across the spectrum. No. So it's, yeah. So starting from industry, academic researchers who have been engaged in this for many, many years, and as well as many federal agencies and regulators who are pretty passionate about how spectrum is being used, and of course the administration's priorities also kind of dovetailed into seeing wireless as a vehicle for enabling societal development at the larger scale, uplifting everyone from whatever class they are in. And so I think the genesis essentially came about as multiple conversations where we are kind of isolated in our own communities without knowing what other communities are doing. And being at NSF, it kind of helped me as I was connecting with individual communities. I was able to see the common needs and desires that all of us shared. And therefore, we started this whole discussion. And about, I would say, October 2015, when we decided that there might be a keen interest for a large-scale partnership to take shape that could be mutually beneficial to everyone interested. Okay, so we started out by reaching out to key industry players and asked them about, hey, what is it that you would like to do in the next generation of wireless networks? And it definitely helped that the debate about 5G was picking up steam. And as you can see, it's going on in full swing. But at that time, it also helped that 5G was extremely amorphous. Right? Now we have a little bit of a clearer picture. The fog is slightly lifting. But at that point, 5G was so amorphous that the companies themselves didn't know what they wanted out of it. And they were all anxious to not be left behind. But given the huge diversity of topics that they thought could become 5G technologies, they were a little worried that they did not have the bandwidth to solve many of these problems, and they definitely did not have the money to invest, especially given that they just rolled out a lot of 4G deployments, and they're kind of trying to wait to get the return on investment on those. So it kind of helped me to make the pitch that, hey, there's this huge group of academics who are really good at what they're doing, and they really would love to partner and solve many of the problems that you guys have. And they said, really? Okay, good. We worked with a few of these. And they said, okay, here's a whole bunch of people. We gave them a list and showed them some examples of interesting outcomes. Again, thanks to all of you, right? And many of you here have been running small-scale test beds and been doing innovative research in your own departments and labs, and also shown impacts in communities. And all of that helped make the case that this is a community that industry can actually rely on and partner on at a much larger level than the piecemeal collaborations that they may have at one or two universities. Okay, so once we are able to convince 2 or 3 key industry players, it kind of set off a snowball effect. So when we went and reached out to other companies, we said, hey, these guys are on board, and they said, oh, really? Then what is it that's got them excited? We want to join them too. And slowly, it became a much bigger effort, and that's when we brought many of the folks you will see today on the stage as part of the project office. We brought them in, and they helped us take this negotiations with these companies to the next level. So Bill Wallace and Joe Kochan, notably, they kind of spearheaded the effort, and that was how we got started with the July 15th announcement that we made in the White House. The Advanced Wireless Research Initiative. It was a $400 million effort that committed $100 million towards building test beds, city-scale test beds, and the remainder towards research. So that's where we are. Now, as one of the things that industry likes to do is move really fast. And if you know how NSF programs work, which most of you do, it takes a year to get a solicitation out and then an award to be made, right? But then industry like, hey, 1 year, come on, it's going to take 1 year to even get an award out. So when we said we are going to make this test beds, they said, all right, let's see it. End of 2017, 16, we're going to have test beds. I said, no, hold on, hold back, stay back, please. There's a big process that needs to happen. Because industry knows that they want to build it in their labs, and they know exactly what they want to build. It's like a short-term focus. And we were thinking of much longer term. Clearly, if a test bed has to serve its purpose of advancing fundamental research, it needs to be a little bit more flexible, and it has to be forward-looking, and it should be something that can evolve with changing technology needs, especially in this space where we are seeing drastic changes in every 2 years in both hardware and the kind of spectrum and the frequencies that are being made available. So we basically impressed upon the industry, and the industry, to their credit, was extremely accepting of this, and they said, yes, we see the point that you are making. So we came up with a timeline, and the timeline essentially is what has led to us, which is also still a very aggressive timeline. So the timeline called for a funding of a project office within, by the end of I would say beginning of 2017, and the first test beds to be awarded out by the end of this year, end of 2017, which essentially meant that we had to, so we remember we started in July, right? July was when the announcement was made. We issued the solicitation for the project office at that point. So everything from the time the project office was going to be created, the project office established, they issue a call to manage and run and form this multi-pronged partnerships with these individual cities. I'm going to help you guys form this, write these nice proposals, which we're hopefully going to see after this. All of this had to happen, a review process, and everything has to happen within a compressed 18-month window. And to me, at NSF, we haven't done something of this scale. And there are a lot of players who deserve credit. I want to call out a few people. So Arvind Gyanchandani, who's a Deputy Assistant Director of CISE, who was the brains and the leading, the guiding light, so to speak, to power this initiative forward. Without his blessings, we would not have been here. And of course, Ken Calvert, the Division Director of CISE, Jim Kurosa, the Assistant Director of CISE, who are all unanimous in their support and were vocal in advocating for this wherever they went. So that's one thing. And I also want to call on my fellow program director, Jack Brazel, who leads the other initiatives on infrastructure, networking. So we are seeing a lot of synergies with what PAWR is trying to do and the other initiatives, Genie, and right now the tip-off solicitation that's currently on the street. So all of these are going to form this new converged, hopefully amazing research platform that's going to kind of be what Internet 2 was, to what we see the Internet right now. So we are going to create this new infrastructure that's hopefully will demonstrate cutting-edge applications and lead to a lot of commercial successes while advancing fundamental research. So that is our big picture goal, right? Now, clearly, when we talk about this as a community infrastructure, you have to keep in mind that we don't have that much experience within the community, in the sense that we do have some experience, but not everybody has that experience of building something. So what we are asking for here is for those who don't have that experience to kind of go around, do the homework, and come back with something that can convince the reviewers and NSF and the industry folks who are involved that this is something that you can pull off, right? So keep that in mind, and as you go along, it may not be necessarily you who is doing the building, but it's you who will be figuring out who do you need to build these things happen and how to make this happen. So bringing the right resources, demonstrating a vision of how to build something out of the scale, but we are not expecting you to sit down and spend your time when you should be doing research. You shouldn't be building a test bed, but you should be bringing in the right people to build the test bed. And of course, make sure they learn from others who have done this in the past. That said, I also want to give a nod to the industry consortiums who have been our equal partners in every word. So this is a consortium composed of 25 companies and more. We are counting right now. We are adding more and more folks as we speak. And the cumulative contributions are up at $50 million right now, $50 million, both cash and in-kind. And it's actually going beyond as more and more companies will join. So hopefully, if you if you can set a good example by coming forward with very compelling proposals, it's going to interest more of the industry consortium members to increase their commitments or bring in additional members too, and therefore we could see even more interesting work happen on these test beds. We can increase the investments sizably from them. So they are extremely committed and they're very eager to see what the community can deliver. I call this our one chance to be relevant. As many of you in the academic community know that we have had our misses in the past. We invested a lot in ad hoc networks thinking that would be the next big thing. They did have spin-off effects in mesh networks and D2D discussions that's happening right now. But it didn't lead to like this big revolution that we thought would happen, right? We did the same thing with sensor networks, and sensor networks, again, we had nice spin-offs in all the discussion that's happening with LoRa and whatnot. All the investment that NSF did had its impact in this, what I call as peripheral impacts, not direct impacts. We didn't change the world right away, but we definitely are influencing the discussions a lot. But I think when we talk about the next generation of technologies where there's a lot of unknowns, where industry itself is also looking for additional guidance in terms of exploring all the rich array of problems, this is our academics' chance to make an impact. And again, this impact may not be visible in the next 3 years or so, but it may be visible in the next, I hope, in the next 6 to 7 years or more than that. So keep that in mind. Not everybody may be able to pull a platform of this scale. So one thing I was joking with Bryan earlier was, hey, we got this interested crowd, but at the end of the day, I want to see the look on their faces, see if they're going to be scared or say, oh my God, this is too hard, right? But I want to let you know that, don't get discouraged. Again, this is not a one-off competition, right? So this is a multi-year competition. We're going to have, hopefully, depending on the quality of the proposals, we are going to have 2 platforms selected this year, and we'll have two more rounds, hopefully, and we will do year 2 and year 3. We'll select 1 more platform each. The way we see it is that those who come in now and fail probably have a leg up on those who come in now and succeed, because mainly, apart from the fact that you didn't get the money right now, you have more time to build on your collaborations and partnerships, and you also get to see how the first platforms stumble and learn from those mistakes, right? So you do want to start thinking about how you want to build right now, but even if you don't succeed in year 1, don't lose hope. Keep at it, because again, like I said, there may be a lot of customization and tailoring to your specific community needs, and some of those things may happen over time, and also communities may need time to kind of grow into this. You may not get the early reception that you see from your city folks right away, but once the city folks themselves see the other platforms shape up and see the impact they may have, they may warm up more. So I would definitely tell you today that do not get discouraged by the level of complexity that you may perceive from this. It may not be that hard. There are folks who have run this. The Genie folks have demonstrated that you can build something of this scale. All it takes is commitment and patience, right, and a little bit of strategic thinking. So if you can learn from them, from the previous efforts, and of course the ongoing efforts, you'll definitely have a good chance of succeeding. Okay. In terms of success rates, think about this, right? So a typical NSF success rate is less than 20%. Okay. We are going to fund 4 platforms, and if the industry consortium ends up, we get better contributions, we may end up doing more than that too. Depends on what we see. But 4 means, at the same success rate, you're 20 cities doing it, applying for proposals. I think that'll be a fantastic. And one of the lessons that you learned from the Department of Transportation's Smart City Challenge and some of the other things is that many times, even if some of these efforts are not directly successful, the collaborations that these create within the city and the companies that you have locally will create additional opportunities to do what I call as mini test beds. So you'll still be able to make an impact. It may not necessarily be as a PAWR platform, but you will still have a much bigger impact within your local institutions and the research community itself by creating other testbed opportunities that the research can benefit from. So there are a lot of spillover effects, and I'm so glad that all of you are here. Take whatever you hear here to heart. And feel free to reach out to me, Jack, and also the US Ignite team should be your first stop for any questions for this effort. We'll be very happy to facilitate any questions, any roadblocks. We'll try to clear it for you. They have a capable team which they will introduce shortly, and all of them are going to be fully plugged in into doing this. Okay, so I'll be here for questions, and let me know if you catch me or anytime after today. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Thyaga. Yeah, so